What is up, hashtag nation? What's up? It's Postgame. We're going live, as we always do, while I try to set some of this stuff up for you guys. We're also simulcasting over on Sportscaster, so you can catch us over there if you like. You can leave your comments on both of those. I will be sure to get to those as well. B Lightning and Daniel Carson coming in right off jump. It's good stuff. I love when that happens. So, yeah, listen, Buffalo Bills, as you guys can see, pull off a 24-9 victory today. A very, I don't know, would you say it was a very unenthusiastic game? I think a lot of us may have fallen asleep during the third quarter of that game because that's what they do to us. This is what this team does, unfortunately. Clicking a bunch of stuff everywhere. Sorry, guys. I'm flying solo tonight. Paul is feeling a little bit under the weather, so I will be driving the episode hopefully today. Brian Edgar, how did Allen do today? I missed the game. He had 14 for 20 for 160 yards and a touchdown. He also ran one in. So I was on the Twitterverse quite a bit during the game, and it seemed like a lot of people were very, very upset with the defense's performance today. And you know, as far as the Redskins running the ball in the first half, yeah, they did run over the Bills quite a bit. Under the weather equals too drunk. No, he doesn't really drink that much. Paul's not really a big drinker. So Anthony John, what I say, great game. Motor and company are the best. Yes, absolutely. Allen was okay, still fumbled, but he was okay. Bills fan 7883 coming in as well. Guys, yeah, leave your questions, comments, anything like that in the chat. I will try to get to those as fast as I can. I'll talk to Paul. I'll talk for Paul. We ran the ball. Yeah, I know he was one very happy individual that we were actually running the ball today and running the ball very successfully as well. So, yeah, a lot of things to unpack in this game today against the 1-7, now 1-8 Washington Redskins. Two different teams with two different directions that are going on right now. As far as it seemed like the Redskins wanted to get Haskins to start before the bye just to get him, you know, acclimated to the NFL speed and whatnot and all the other stuff. And that for the Bills, it was more of a, I wouldn't say a statement game, but just to just to get back in the win column and to start to doing things fundamentally right again. And not a lot of things were really going right for the Bills, even though they were doing a lot of things that are right. So Brown and Cowboys are going to be run all over us. Yeah, it's the Browns and the Cowboys are going to run all over. It seems like that. I think they should have it fixed by next week, hopefully. I mean, we all hope as Bills fans that they have it fixed by next week. Hey, you can score a lot of points in Madden, Daniel Carson. Very nice. Can we please not play the blame star game? Tremaine Evans is the reason we were getting gashed. Bills fan 7883. Yeah, not. Not. You know, I saw Star get blown up a few times. I'm not going to lie to you, and it wasn't very pleasant. It wasn't very pleasant at all. And you know, due to my affinity for Star, how about this? I grabbed 2 beers for the post game, and I got to open them up. They're not twist tops. Talk about a rookie move on my part. Anyway, this team is so crazy. We can really look good, and then we can just look downright awful. So let me get to some of the stats, and I'll get to all you guys' questions and everything. Daniel Garvey's, I have to increase my cynicism level for Paul. Yeah, Paul's not going to be happy. Paul is really not going to be happy with, especially the third down calls, because a lot of people happen to tout how good the adjustments are for the Buffalo Bills coming in and doing all this stuff. And the third quarter was just abysmal once again for the Buffalo Bills. I think if you play a team that's really good, they're going to try to expose you in a lot of ways. So, if they run for Dennis Chapman, if they run for 305 field goals, who cares? It's good. That's good. So, all right, let me get to some stats, and I'll get to you guys' questions really quick. So, if we're talking about the Buffalo Bills, just the Buffalo Bills, they only had 8 possessions today. So, only had 3 possessions in the first half, which is very shocking. But those possessions that they had in the first half went for 8 plays, 12 plays, and 11 plays. Got points on every single drive. I think when you're talking about the Bills offense starting to click and starting to come in and starting to actually do something, having every one of your drives in the first half be scoring drives is actually very positive. I mean, they were able to put up 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So that in my thought process and everything, that was a very positive thing for them to do. They started at the Washington 39 for their last drive, which they scored a touchdown. But some of them play calls, I will try to be as objective as possible with you guys as far as some of the play calls that have been going on. And we got Rum Boys. We got Rum Boys over on Sportscaster, Dilly Dilly. Apex 00 in Sportscaster as well says a win and a win. Win is a win, 6-2. I agree with you guys. We ran the ball. D-line got beat up today, so that was not good. But if you look at the Buffalo Bills per half, now they had 3 possessions in the first half, 5 possessions in the second half, 17 points in the first, 7 in the second. 31 plays to 28 plays. So their 5 possessions in the second half, they only ran 28 plays. They only gained 112 yards on those 28 plays. They had 173 yards on 31 plays in the first half. Passing numbers and rushing numbers both down, as you would expect in that. But like the third quarter, you rush for 4 yards and you have to punt it, and you run for 1 yard and you have to punt it. The key thing about those 2 drives, if I could take any positive out of those, was that it ate up about 6 minutes in clock for those 2 drives. Now, I'm trying to be as positive as possible with this team. At the halfway point, if you'd have came up to us at the beginning of the year and said, hey, they're going to be 6-2 at the halfway point, I think none of us would have been upset with that. I really don't think that we would have. Jack Patrick, aloha Mario, let's go 6-2, baby. Yeah, Jack, what is it, like 7? You're like 7 hours behind us? So what is it like? I'm not doing the math. 10 something over there? Nice. 585 Army, we won, I'm back. Yes, you are back. Tim Ellington took 16 games to get 6 wins last year. Exactly. I mean, that's what happens. Donnie Brook, can't wait for the draft. How dare you, sir? How dare you just get right now? It's 12:45. Thanks, buddy. My favorite commentator, Cherry Bradshaw, slapped me in the face today. He said, Buffalo's 6-2, but they're not a good team. They've had an easy schedule. Well, just try to explain that really quick. When a team's not very good the year before, the next year's schedule should reflect that, as far as the parity that they want to create in the NFL. So the team that finishes with the worst record should have the easiest record the next year. A lot of times it doesn't work that way because of the turnover with a lot of these teams and coaches and everything. They'll go on the previous year's record and then they'll try to assign the games that way. Now, if you want to talk about the New England Patriots, you have your division games, you play against another division in the NFC, but then you have 2 games that are like at large games. The New England Patriots are playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're playing the Houston Texans, 2 teams that were division winners last year. So that's how they tried to set that up as far as the strength of schedule coming into this year. Now the Bills, they can't control who's on their schedule. They can't control that, but they've beat the thing that hasn't happened for the Buffalo Bills in the past that are happening now is that they're starting to beat these teams that they're supposed to. They're actually beating these teams they're supposed to beat. I guess when you came into the season, I mean, the Philly game, you could have been like, all right, I think they might lose this one. The Patriot game, Patriots are kind of weak in the beginning of the season, or weaker in the beginning of the season. Maybe the Bills can sneak one out there. However, I mean, other than those 2 games, the Bills beat everybody that they should have beat. It's okay. I think where the skepticism comes in for the Buffalo Bills is that what have they improved from week 1 until now? What have the Buffalo Bills actually improved on both offensively and defensively? I mean, defensively, they came out of the gates really hot. Offensively, they're starting to learn. They're trying to get things rolling here. And I think you may have seen a glimpse for the formula for the Buffalo Bills as we continue on and go into the second half of this season is the fact that you have a very dynamic runner back there who is very fresh. And he can break some runs for you both in the screen game, in the pass game, and all over the place with the run game. I mean, he's not quick. He's sudden. I mean, that guy, Singletary's a special player, man. He's a very special player. Let me scroll up because, like I said, as I keep talking, you guys keep commenting. I want to get to all of these. Can you imagine, Donnie Brook, can you imagine if we ever had a top left tackle? John Roberts, can't wait for Dable to do what he did in the first quarter every quarter. Yeah, something. You're going to hear me talk about this on Friday. And I've just let you guys know I switched up the Friday film room a little bit for y'all. The Friday film room, I'm going to go over a few plays for the Buffalo Bills. However, I'm going to do it with a twist. I'm going to go over plays that because their next opponent is Cleveland. So I'm going to go over Cleveland's plays that may exploit the Bills and how plays that the Bills could run to exploit Cleveland. So I'm going to go over that stuff. It's going to be a little twist this Friday. So I'm glad you guys brought that up. Brian Edgar, James, I agree. Dable must go. The thing I don't understand with Dable, and this bothers me, why do you run a jet sweep to the side that you want to run the ball? Now, I loved the concept of what he wanted to do today. Listen, you have a front four. Your lineman got beat up by a front four last week. This front four is pretty good. They're not Eagles, but they're pretty good. They got linebackers that can fly all over the place. Landon Collins is just flying all over the place from the secondary position as well. What do you want to do? You use McKenzie to try to shift guys left and right where you want them to go, and then you run the opposite direction. Every time that he did that, there was a positive play from Singletary or Gore. If you ran McKenzie from left to right and you wanted to run Gore or Singletary left, it worked. It was awesome. But when you run Singletary to your left and then you're running, or you run McKenzie to your left and then you run Singletary left, it doesn't make any sense because you're bringing everybody to him. Now, I have to watch the tape to see if the line broke down and that's why the runner went the way they went, or it's just that was play design. I don't know as of right now, but I just can't fathom that you would call a run play to the same side that you're running the jet sweep. I just don't understand that. Jack Patrick, my brother sent me this text. Jordan Phillips greater than Ed Oliver. Yes, Jordan Phillips is on a contract year, and I would assume the Buffalo Bills would offer him a deal. I miss Harrison Phillips in there. Let's put it that way. You want to talk about a Phillips? I miss Harrison Phillips in there. I'm scrolling up. I want to try to get to these. Chuck Christopher loved the run game today. Yep. Singletary's looking like the real deal. At least they used Devin this game. He got their offense moving. Yeah, he was pretty much the entire offense. Low Temps comes in. Only the Bills fan complain when the team is 6-2 and they've been irrelevant for 20 years. Now, it's not so much complaining. I'd like to think about it as I'm taking an objective view of the team because things aren't all coming up roses for this team. I mean, there are definitely places on the offense and the defense where they can improve, and I'd like for them to improve. Otherwise, they will get exposed in the playoffs by teams that are really, really good. I mean, the teams that they've beaten have been abysmal. So that's my take on it. So. Okay, we got to fix the run defense and we'll just be fine. Nick Chubb will be tough. Yeah, I think Slick Mongoose comes in. Nick Chubb will be tough. I think what the Bills need to do is they play such a team-oriented concept defense. Now, Frazier and McDermott do not like to blitz, and I can understand that. If you don't blitz, then you're putting more guys in coverage, so it's harder to throw, which a lot of teams are starting to find out. This is very hard to throw on the Buffalo Bills. However, if you want to bring a guy out of coverage to try to blitz or add pressure or anything like that, you're going to expose your pass game a little bit, especially your short pass game. So the Buffalo Bills, I didn't see Lorenzo out there too much today. I don't expect his snap count to be over 30%. So they're really running two linebackers a lot, and they're running 5 defensive backs, so to account for the pass. Now, you may give up some stuff in the run game. Milano and Edmonds may need some help, so I wouldn't expect them to do anything drastic other than to maybe play some more base looks and put more pressure on that secondary to cover whatever guys are in the route if it happens to be a pass play. If it's a run play, then you have another linebacker in there that the offensive line has to account for. So a lot of these teams that are doing it, especially with the Eagles, what they did, they had their 5 linemen for the 4 defensive linemen, and then you had the 2 linebackers. So that's as far as from the Bills' perspective, you have 6 on 5. You should win one of those battles and have an extra guy. However, they're using tight ends in some of these, and they're matching man on man, and a lot of these plays are breaking loose. So let me see. Hunter Smith, Dable is way too predictable with his calls. Oh, Low Temp, sorry. I don't know. I thought I started the broadcast complaining, so I don't know. Believers Talk, first drive we had no negative plays, led to a touchdown. Joe, yeah. I mean, you could have you couldn't really ask for a better. Start. Like I said, they had 3 drives in the first half, and they scored on all of them. They scored 17 points out of a possible 21, if you want to think about it that way. So, and then the one drive that they had in the second half, the first time they got stopped it was a turnover on downs. They started at their 36. So, I think they possibly could have kicked a long field goal. However, because of the weather, I don't think they'd even tried it, but they decided to go for it on downs. Some of them short calls that they have. I don't know. The way that it works right now, as far as the Buffalo Bills go, numerically, they're on pace to go 12-4, but I don't know if they may go 10-6. I think at worst, the Bills go 10-6 and they make the playoffs there. All right, Bills fans 78-83. If Starr wasn't making that money, no one would say anything. It's a contract, you notice. Tremaine Edmonds doesn't fit the run. Paul and I got beat up quite a bit for saying that Edmonds would be a better outside linebacker than an inside linebacker, and he gets a little sticky inside, man. He just gets a little sticky inside for my taste. I don't understand that. I don't understand why. You got to keep bodies off of your linebackers in order for them to make plays. The defensive line is having trouble with that because the offensive line is starting to bring numbers now inside. Now, Peterson is an animal. I can't believe how this guy is able to produce the way he's producing at that age. I'll have to ask Levi Wallace about that, but wow, that guy was impressive today. Okay, let's scroll up. We have a lot of new commenters in the chat. Rico Ali said, I believe Daboll's play calling is predictable. Theodore Kumar liked that Bills blitz a little more. They did. They came off the edges a few times today. Anthony Jones, Browns, Dolphins, Broncos into Dallas. So psyched. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Those are 3 very winnable games. And games where the offense and or defense has time to fix what they're doing. Now, if you want to talk about it, in my perspective, as far as a talent level, just those pure talent level for the Bills against the Browns, Dolphins, and Broncos, they have more talent, in my opinion, than those 3 teams. Could I be wrong? Happens a lot. However, you have to think about it in this respect. If they have more talent, they don't have to do anything exotic to beat those teams. They just have to I think that's what McDermott was saying as far as fundamentals. He wasn't just speaking about that during playing the Redskins. I really think he wants his team over the 4 weeks that he was talking about, Redskins included, they have to be more fundamentally sound. Now, I guess the only argument in that is that the Browns could probably be the only team that you would think has more talent than the Buffalo Bills. However, if the Buffalo Bills play they're a fundamental game, 0 mistakes, and I think Allen's up to 89 consecutive passes in a row without an interception. However, he did fumble today, and we'll get to that. Believe me, we're going to talk about Allen running the ball too. So I just think if they play fundamental football and don't have to do anything too exotic, they can win those games easily. But they're not doing those things. Paul Berg, Daboll's a joke. I think Daboll's gonna take a lot of heat today. Daniel, hey Mario, when am I getting that signed Shangeli helmet? Well, I got the helmet. I got it right here. Just makes my forehead look huge. I can't wait for you to film review of this game for the fans. Young King, yeah, I can't wait to do it either, man. I'm so excited. I'm so glad I get to do that. It's going to be pretty awesome. All right, the Bills will shut the Browns down. Daniel, yeah, I agree. I think they will because Paul mentioned it at the beginning of the year. If the Bills come into and see a Browns team that has a losing record, it could be a dumpster fire there. And I think what you're starting to see unfold in Cleveland is a dumpster fire. It's really, Baker Mayfield and that offense and the defense. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of continuity going on in Cleveland right now, and it's starting to show. So I'm not really sure how that's going to manifest by next week, what's going to happen. But I'm very excited to see that Cleveland game. John Roberts comes in, 13-3. We're only losing to the Ravens. The Ravens seem pretty tough. They seem like a very, very difficult team that no one has really kind of figured out yet. I think once the Patriots play them, I think you get a better understanding of where the ways to stop Lamar Jackson and that offense will come in, because if anyone's going to figure it out, I think Bill Belichick will. So, yeah, I don't know. That's what I got. That's what I got for that. I also wonder if Edmonds' age put him at middle linebacker. Tim Ellington. More time to learn and better future for Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, the kid's got all the physical tools. We talked about that when the same year that they drafted the Edmonds, they drafted Allen, and both of these kids have such uncoachable physical tools that all you got to do is coach them up a little bit. And if you're able to coach them up, then they can let their athleticism shine if they know what they're doing and they trust the process, and they're able to do all that stuff for you. Edmonds has had a couple bad games back to back. So I don't. Like I said, I'd have to check. I hate to say that phrase, but I have to check the tape on that. But we'll see how that manifests in and of itself. Whether or not he was bouncing around behind the hole again, or he was actually making informed decisions and slamming it up in there, and he was just getting blocked. I don't know. I'm not really sure. So let's Ravens. Ravens lost to Cleveland. Enough said. Cleveland equals dumpster fire. Mayfield equals 5 gallons of gasoline. Oh my God, Gowries. Are you kidding me? Yes, I am new here and addicted, especially living by the Browns and the Indians and the Cavs. It's never ending. Mike H. Yes. That's pretty hysterical. Brian Edgar. Edmonds a kid still. Yeah, he is. The kid's only going to get better. And the problem is, I don't know if the Bills, and especially their fan base, wants to wait that long. I don't think any of us want to wait that long at all. What else we got? Doyle Fry coming in. He says Edmonds is not the problem. If that's the case, Milano isn't seeing it well either. When Phillips got hurt, our run D started to struggle because the D-line can't free up our linebackers. Yeah, Harrison Phillips, you start to see how much of an impact he had on this team. And he has missed. He has missed on the defensive line. I think there's no two ways about it. He is very missed. But when you start to talk about the individual linebackers in Milano versus Edmonds, I mean, one guy you traded up into the first round further to get. Milano was a 5th rounder. I think a lot of people always place a lot of emphasis on that. The fact that where a guy was drafted will impact their expectations of him, such as, with Josh Allen. The Bills organization gave up quite a bit of assets and draft picks to acquire Josh Allen in a very quarterback-heavy draft. Now, that draft is looking like, I mean, you talk about the quarterbacks that were taken in that first round. You're talking about Darnold, Allen, Mayfield, Rosen, and Jackson. And Allen and Jackson seem like the two guys that have it figured out. And the other 3 are just struggling right now. So it could be the infrastructure of all those organizations. I don't know. But for whatever reason it is, Allen is not. I think if you had to, based on record and production, I think you'd have to put Jackson above Allen, unfortunately, in this case, because he has an offensive coordinator that's playing to his strengths. He's not trying to teach him something he's not used to doing. I think that's the thing with Daboll, is that he's trying to install the EP system for Allen, who came from a West Coast-based system. So there's a time of adjustment for that, and he's got to learn, and he's still learning. So from that's what I extrapolate out of there. So, all right, Chuck Christopher. Edmonds doesn't trust what he's seeing yet. You can see he doesn't shoot the gaps hardly ever. Yeah, if you put him on the outside and tell him to rush, he'll do it all day. Once he knows where the play is going, he'll get there. He'll make the tackle. But there's just too much indecision for him. Let me see. We need to remember that this year is supposed to be better, but the plan was always 2020, so we were ahead of schedule a little bit. Apex. Yeah, Apex came over from Sportscaster. He was just over there. You probably simul-watching. I don't know. Edmonds should play outside. I think we need a bona fide middle linebacker. So here's the thing. If you want to take a look at it in this perspective and talking about Allen versus Edmonds, what they need to learn at their respective positions takes time. Now, I will say the defense doesn't take as long as a quarterback, but it still takes time. And this kid I mean, he led the team in tackles last year. He had a very impressive rookie season. He is still learning. There's going to be things that he's not going to get, tackles he's going to miss, gaps he's going to miss. It's going to happen. However, I think it's important that as Bills fans, we don't hammer the kid for everything. Now, would I like him personally to be an outside linebacker? When he got drafted, I thought that's where they were going. But I don't think you trade up for an outside linebacker, which made me think they're going to put him in the middle. However, he's learning. Once you have 5 years with the kid, he's still going to be only 25 years old by the end of his first deal. So, I mean, if we just have a little bit of patience with the kid, I think we're going to be all right. I really do think we're going to be all right. Tim Edlington, agreed. I'm looking forward to next year when Harrison Phillips returns. Absolutely. Daniel Garis, Derek Jeffords. Our largest problem on defense is creating pressure. Oliver is good at disrupting plays. He is. He is very good. I mean, the kid, when he has a full offseason to actually get to the weight he needs to be, he's going to be a very dangerous player. But the fact is, I think because of the combine, him not knowing exactly where he was going to go, I think he was cutting weight to show guys that he could play play defensive end as well, which is the money position. If you want to think about it, the money position really is defensive end over defensive tackle. So in that respect, I think he'll probably put on about 20 to 25 pounds this offseason, and he'll be a completely different monster next year next to Harrison. So, and you got to realize too, the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to speak too soon on this, but I think at the conclusion of camp next year, if they wanted to part ways with Star Lotulelei, they could with a minimal cap hit. So by that time, I think they would, and June of 2020, I think they could be all right. I really think they could be all right with his, if they decide to move on from him. I mean, that's what I believe. Theodore Kumar says Star needs to move next year. I don't know. All right. Yeah, guys, obviously, if you're just joining the broadcast, I'm here without Paul. I'm trying to fly solo. I know what he means now with the amount of comments coming in into the chat at a rapid pace. That's pretty insane. But if it's your first time here and you like Buffalo Bills content and general NFL talk and all that stuff, and especially with the film breakdowns that we're starting to do on Fridays, be sure to hit that subscribe button and come on back. We have videos that are posted Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we also have exclusive to Sportscaster. We're over there on Saturdays giving our pregame of that week's opponent. During the off season, we're going to get back in the car to do our normal shtick and videos and everything that we're going to do as far as content goes for the Bills. So you'll get content probably 4 or 5 times a week during the summer. So yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like Buffalo Bills content. All right. So let me scroll up and get some of these. Trade Star. I don't know if you can trade him at this point. It'd be kind of tough. Yeah, Ed needs to get his weight up. Madden Football Talk. OC can't get out of his own way, but I'm good on him for running today. Yeah, good on him. I mean, you had to. You had to run the ball. You had to try to establish something. I mean, Paul took a lot of heat, and we both took a lot of heat as far as it goes with the episode we did on Dable. A lot of people hammered us for it, and I understand that. That's fine. But Paul was just basically saying, if you want Allen to develop and you want to give him some help, run the ball. If you run the ball successfully, that's the best thing that's going to help your quarterback, and it did. So, thank you, Mr. Jeffords. What do you think is our biggest need on offense? Paul Berg comes in right away. A better OC. All right, so we got back-to-back questions. I'll try to get to these as fast as I can. What do you think is our biggest need on offense? And then Daniel Garis comes in right after that and says, what's the answer for the Bills' run defense? I'm going to adjust my seat for this one. The biggest need on offense is a deep threat. You need a deep threat. Now, having Foster in the game today and activating McKenzie, you were able to show different dynamics of your offense that other teams are going to have to account for moving forward, because we saw some things today that we usually didn't see. The little gadget things that Dable likes to run, I'm not a big fan of those. I'm really not, especially when he starts to get inside the 20 and inside the 10. I'm not a big fan of those. But if you put Foster and Brown on the opposite sides of the formation, you're going to have the defense have to make a decision. They have to decide whether or not they're going to leave those guys alone. And Brown, you can't. He's proven that this year. He's like one of only 2 wide receivers that has over 4 catches and 50 yards in every single game. You can't do it. The guy's a first down monster. He had a drop today. I know everyone will hammer on him for that, but he had an amazing day today. But if you put those 2 guys on the field, the defense has to make a choice whether or not they're going to still stack the box to stop the run, because it was successful today. But if they do that, then you're exposing your team to the pass. Now, I think teams would make that decision at this point that they will stack the box to stop the run and make Allen beat them. Well, if he trusts in his receivers the way he did today, I know he threw that one back shoulder to Brown. He came back and got it. If he's able to trust his receivers to make plays for him, then it's going to be fine. I mean, the offense can run the way it's running. I mean, I think the Bills' mentality was going into because they didn't trade for anybody. Number one, a lot of those guys they were going to trade for, their contracts expire at the end of the year anyway, so why give up an asset for them when you could just sign any of them with the $90 million cap space that you're going to have? That's one. Two, they probably think the answer's already in the building. I mean, if Foster, as we talked about before, he ran some wrong routes during the preseason games. If he's able to run the right routes and be a player, he garners attention. He's your tallest wide receiver. He's one of the burners. He had chemistry with Allen last year. A lot of people are going to put a lot of credence into that. So I think on offense, that's what you need to do. I think you need to stop getting in your own way. I think Allen is thinking too much. You got to run the ball to help him out. After you start running the ball, then you run play action, because Allen is great at play action. And you got to give him throws that'll help him develop. I mean, catching the ball in shotgun and throwing it immediately to McKenzie, he's not reading anything on that. You got to give him what they do sometimes. They give him some very safe reads. They have what they call a levels concept, and I'll just go over that one real quick. A levels concept is when Allen sometimes rolls out or does like a naked bootleg, they'll have a guy short in the flat, they'll have a guy running a 10-yard out, and then they'll have a guy running deep. So Allen is reading whatever the play is designed for him to read. He's reading either high to low or low to high. So he's looking at the defenders. Wherever they're not, that's where he's going to throw it. So, but you only give him half the field to read to start out. But then once he starts to mature and starts to develop as a quarterback, then you can give him the whole field to scan. That's basically what you're going to do. As far as Gary's comment, what was the answer for the Bills' run defense? We talked about it a little bit. About that earlier. I think you got to bring some more guys. I wouldn't mind bringing more guys in the box and, forcing teams, just like teams forced the Bills. Force them to pass. A lot of the quarterbacks you're going to see coming up, they're not going to be very good. So why not? Why not just load the box on them, have their quarterbacks make a decision or two? Because, okay, you try running on a 9-man front. You try running on an 8-man front. Let's see how you guys do. Until they start gashing you, if you're on an 8-man front and they run on you, then you have issues. Then we're going to have issues. But the Bills are still trying to play a nickel package and stop the run because they're so conscious of stopping the pass. Once they get to that point where they can have an extra guy on the field, maybe put Poyer in the box, maybe bring Alexander back in, I don't know. But the thing that worries them, I believe, the Buffalo Bills, is the fact that once they put Alexander in the game as a coverage guy, I know Milano was out, but against the Dolphins, he was exposed. I don't think they want to have that. They would rather have a guy in coverage that can come up and hit rather than Lorenzo trying to cover somebody. So that's what I got for those two questions. I don't know. Sorry it was so long-winded, but Daniel Gar says he wants an offensive tackle then a wide receiver. I don't think a tackle's out of the realm of possibility. A lot of people think on this team you're playing 4 tackles across the line with Mitch Morse. I mean, could be. I'm not going to say. I know Paul's saying. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. All right, Ron Covert. Why can't the defense bring pressure inside out like Green Bay and San Francisco? I don't. They got some horses over there. San Francisco's been stockpiling defenders for years. I mean, they probably have like 5 first-round picks, like top 5 picks on their defense right now. I mean, you got Bosa, Armstead, Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner. I mean, they got horses all over that place. Plus, they just They got that guy from Kansas City in the offseason. They paid him a ton of money. Plus, what was it, Quan Alexander? I think he just got hurt. He's out for the season. I don't know. They got a bunch of guys over there. Bills fan 7883. Bills. The offense needs a home run hitter. I'm thinking like Tyreek Hill. Defense needs a Khalil Mack type. Fill those two holes. Josh will be good off season. The team will compete next season. See, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I think what they want to do is they want to have such a balanced attack offensively and defensively is the fact that you can't key in on one player. Now, if you have a guy that's like a Khalil Mack, what do? All right, we're going to double him all day because we think that the other defenders they have are too weak and can't affect our game plan. So you can do that. Now, if you have a very balanced attack on all fronts, you don't know where the defense is coming. That's going to be kind of hard to game plan against. If they're lining up in straight nickel and they're beating you, what do? They're not doing anything exotic, and they're just smacking you in the face. I don't know. So let's go. G-Rock, we are 2 drafts away from being legit. Ooh, that is a lot to unpack there. That'd be crazy. Dan Tanyan, love seeing Trey blitz today. Yeah, I guess it was all those goalie academy hours that he logged. It's pretty awesome. Paul Berg, first time ever seen Star get beat one-on-one. He's usually doubled. First career sack for Trey. Yeah. Was it for Trey? Yeah, for Trey. Yeah, I mean, Star's usually eating up bodies in the middle because he plays that tilt 4-3. Now, what the tilt 4-3 means is that he's not. You guys see him on the game. You're like, what's wrong with him? Does he not know where they're going? Well, no, he's not in a universe. He's not in a 0 technique. He's not in a 3 technique. He's like just kind of tilted sideways and facing right at the center. So he's either going to slide through the gap. But his main focus is to take on the guard in the center. Now, we saw in the Eagles game from the film, it wasn't good. He was just getting washed down because they were stunting a lot. He wasn't just coming straight up the field. He was stunting. And then Hughes was stunting. Murphy was stunting. So a lot of those things were going on. So what they need to do is they need to just try to man up and run straight up the field. I don't know. A lot of these twists and stunts aren't working because you end up opening gaps on your own. So let's just say if they want to run a twist, for example, and they have Hughes and they have Oliver, and then Oliver runs towards Hughes' position and Hughes comes and loops right back around him, I think you end up opening up more gaps and you lose what they call gap integrity there. So, and the guys can break a big run. So if that ends up happening, then Milano or Edmonds will be all by himself, and we've already seen the result of that. So, Young King, Allen almost lost the snap, picked it up, and escaped pressure, threw the ball, and nearly got the TD. Yeah, when he ad-libs and he doesn't try to be the riverboat gambler, he does pretty well. He does pretty well for himself. I love him stepping up in the pocket. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. He needs a pocket to step up in. However, a lot of times he'll always like to go backwards, and Paul had mentioned this on a previous broadcast. What happens is with Allen and like most strong arm quarterbacks, they'll go backwards because they don't care that they have the arm strength to get it anywhere. So what they do is he'll back up to try to buy himself some time. Well, the problem is your tackles are pushing guys wide, and your front is trying to keep guys off of you. So that's the pocket. You got to try to step up in the pocket. Now, if guys are going wide like that, Allen needs to step up and then go to his right, not just try to elude the one guy that's coming in at him. So I don't know. Those are just technical points, though, with that. All right. Where Theodore Kumar, yeah, Bosa is a beast. Every poor team has a few studs. We've seen some of them play stand-up football recently. Doyle Fry, we need to draft Jerry Jeudy, get a left guard, and draft another defensive end. And it's a lot of draft talk going on tonight. What's wrong with you? We're 6-2, not 2-6. What's going on with y'all tonight? Oh, brutal. All right, Bills fan 7883. When Spain is on, he's really, really good. He just seems to have a lot of mental lapses. You know, at one point in the game, I think it was like late in the third quarter, they only had 2 penalties for 20 yards. So here's the thing that I don't get. Paul Berg, Spain takes plays off. I don't really want to unpack that one. I'm scared. You guys are a refrigerator, for crying out loud. So the point that I wanted to get to, Berg just made me forget it. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, as far as the as far as the offensive line goes, I think they're starting to gel as a unit, and they're starting to go really well. You saw Naseki come in. Oh no, the penalties. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, sorry. See, this is why I'm old. You know, with all the penalties going on with the Buffalo Bills today. The Bills didn't really force any turnovers, yet they didn't get any turnovers, and they didn't have a lot of penalties. And you saw the result of the game. They win by 15 points. So, and now it was a bad team they were playing in Washington. I understand that. A lot of pundits may say that this week that you're gonna hear their sentences finished off when they're like, "Hey, the Bills are 6-2," and then the next sentence is gonna be, "Well, they beat the," and then you insert Redskins, Dolphins, Jets, all those teams here. But if they play a clean game like they did today, now what is the thing that we've been hammering the Buffalo Bills to do? Run the ball. Don't turn the ball over. Stop the run. Now, in the second half, they only gave up 18 yards rushing. So they adjusted, okay? As much as we could say how bad they were against the run early in this game, they adjusted. Redskins adjusted. Bills adjusted. The Redskins were still in the game to run the ball, too. Like, let's not forget that. It wasn't like it was 24-0 in the start of the second half, and the Redskins like, listen, we got to throw to try to get back in this one. They were still in the game and able to be able to run the ball. So that being said, you played a relatively clean game. You didn't force any turnovers. You didn't create any. You had low penalties, and you ended up winning by 15 to a bad team. So a lot of the things that we talk about with the Buffalo Bills, a lot of those were off the table today. And while it's not a cause for worry, I don't know if I'm completely comfortable with the 6-2, and I don't think a lot of you are either. So let me get to some more comments of you guys. Young King, Allen doesn't need to throw for 300 to be successful. Agree with that. They said the one weekend that everyone was clamoring for Allen to throw for 300 yards, four of the guys that threw for 300 lost. I think one of them was Dak Prescott. He threw for like 400 and lost. So, Derek Jeffers, do you think Allen is capable for throwing for 300 yards on a consistent basis in the future? I would only say no due to the offense that he's playing. Like, he's not playing for Andy Reid. He's not playing for LaFleur. He's not playing for a lot of the Sean Payton, or he's not playing for who's that child out in for the Rams? Can't remember his name right now. McVay. He's not playing for him. The thing with Allen, he's playing in a very boring system. And I'm like I said before, a lot of you probably fell asleep during the third quarter because of that broadcast. It's a boring system. I'm going to take whatever's in front of me. I'm going to play fundamental football, and we're going to move the chains, and we're going to score, and we're going to take time off the clock. That's what we're going to do. That's what that offense is. Take everything that you're given. If you're given 3 yards by the defense, you take 3 yards. You're not going to take a shot down the field. Very rarely will you take a shot. And the only way you get someone to take a shot is if they crowd the box with 8 or 9 people. Now, you want those long passes to open up for Allen down the field? Keep running the ball the way you're running. You run the ball with Singletary the way you're running, people are going to creep in the box. Guys will open up over the top. That's how it works. That's how football's been working over the past however many years. That's what it does. So that's how he's going to throw for 300 yards. If you run the ball successfully, teams creep up in the box to try to stop your run. You run play action. You block it up. Guys one-on-one, Brown, Foster, Beasley, whoever, and you get to throw over their heads. That's what you do. You guys got me cranked up right now. It's crazy. Pierre Martinez, do you like the Bills' chances against Cleveland? Yes, I do. I think that there's going to be a lot of infighting going on with Cleveland. So I think that the Bills will, coming off a win, you're always a little bit better than you were. So if they were playing Cleveland after the Philly game, I would have some hesitation. But coming off of Washington, having a very, very clean, that's what McDermott loves. He loves clean games. And this was a very clean game for the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to be all right. Daniel Garvey, Spain had a couple flags today. Shiva's gold. I'm glad to see Naseki back at right tackle. It was a change to sit it was a change to sit in a pocket and throw for Allen. Yeah, it was. I mean, he's usually running for his life out there. Chivas Gold, redshirt Ford. That is phenomenal. You imagine if they could redshirt players that they drafted and say extend their contract an extra year? That'd be crazy. I don't even know. Young King, Andre Roberts really wants that end zone on a return. Yeah. This is true. This is very true. He does. So funny. Matt's Viz came in. Hey, you retracted his message. All right. Send it back. I get it. All right. Atlanta's been throwing for 300 yards every game, but I'll take Allen at 6-2. Buffalo, New Yorker, I agree with you. Derek Jeffers, that's what Tyrod Taylor did for us. Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't open up the can of worms that is Tyrod. Don't do that in my chat. The only reason I say don't bring up Tyrod is because you got two vastly different coordinators. You got two vastly different offenses and philosophies that are going on. So that's why I don't compare them at all. It'd be like comparing Allen to the Ravens offense right now, because that's who ran it. When Greg Roman was here, he worked with Tyrod, and that's the offense that he ran. But right now, the EP system that Dable's trying to implement, those are like two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as offensive philosophies go. So that's why I don't like the comparisons. That's why it always bugs me for that. Now, whether he's not throwing for 300, okay, he's not throwing for 300. If you're winning and you're moving the ball down the field, you're getting first downs, I don't care really how you're doing it. I really don't. But there are some concerns of why it's so inconsistent. And those are the growing pains that the Bills are starting to have. That's what's happening. Total of 5 flags. Yeah, Organor said total 5 flags thrown in the game. Mike H. Let me see. Tim Ellington, safeties didn't exactly spread the field when Tyrod was about to throw. Yeah, the thing about Allen that separates him from Tyrod is the fact that he can hit every inch of the field if you needed him to. Now, his accuracy has been coming into question, but he just threw for 70% completions today. I'm not going to complain about his accuracy at all today. Pierre Martinez, Bills should use Yeldon on third downs. Gore is too predictable. I like Yeldon, but to me, he was your insurance policy. He was an insurance policy that you got, and you were able to exercise it when Singletary got hurt, and now you don't need that insurance policy anymore. So while I would like to see him in the game because I think he's a heck of a receiving back, and if you wanted to go a lot of those 5 wide sets, which I didn't see too many today. Didn't see too many 5 wides today. Wonder why. Just didn't see them. But Tim Ott 70, he said, I'm worried about Hunt coming back next week. I don't know. Chubb's been a monster there. I'd be worried about him more. The continuity going on with Chubb in that offense. I mean, he's an explosive player. He's a very explosive player. Leron Hill, he said, I think Dable scared to hurt Frank Gore's feelings with goal line carries and short yardage. Some of them, you just got to get a better push. I mean, the touchdown that Allen scored, you had to go 4 times to get that. I mean, really? Was Dable trying to prove a message, trying to say all the people that say, listen, you should run the ball when you're down there. You got to run the ball when you're down there. And then after you run, you'll score. Well, he tried it 3 times, didn't work. It was crazy. All right, scroll up. Sorry. I don't know how many remember the 89 Bills. They lost to Cleveland in the playoffs, but they couldn't stand each other at first. Oh, yeah, the Bickering Bills. Yeah, that's what they nicknamed him. They were the Bickering Bills. I remember was it 90? Was it 90 when they played Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game and they lost to them? I can't remember what year that the Bengals went. I think it was the AFC Championship game. The Bengals went to play the 49ers. I think it was 90. I'm not sure. I'm not saying every game, but we have 1 to 300-yard game. I think the 300-yard game would come if they were getting blown out. And they haven't. They haven't gotten blown out this year, and that was one of the concerns that was coming in from last year with McDermott, is that he was getting blown out in some games. I think you only see a 300-yard game if they end up crowding the box with him, and Dable ends up pulling the trigger and saying, "Listen, kid, just let it fly. Just let it fly. You let it fly, we're gonna be fine." Daniel Garvey, Josh Allen is better than Tyrod in every way. Yeah, like I said, I don't like comparing them to. For me, it's not something I want to do. I don't want to compare them. Jack Patrick, Icky Woods. I wanted to kill. Stop it. Yes, it was Marlowe and Burke. Thank you. That was 89. Young King. So is Josh Allen and Jimmy Garoppolo? They did have very similar numbers. Someone posted it on Twitter. I saw it. They had, going into this week, they had very similar numbers with like 9 touchdowns, 7 picks, or something like that, and the passing yards were the same. But the way that it's going, I think it's hysterical that if you had, just not talking about the Bills for a second, but if you looked at the storyline that was playing out in the NFL right now, you have Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady are undefeated right now. If they met in the Super Bowl, I'm not watching it. I'm not. I'm really not. If the Patriots play the Niners in the Super Bowl, I'm not watching it. Be the only one in my entire lifetime that I won't watch, because that would be just stupid. Anyway, weird game to me. Scott Blakely, weird game to me. Part seemed to be rolling, and then it was bad. There were parts of the game that were just really, really bad. And that third quarter, I think we need to try to, the script that Daboll had, I liked. I liked certain parts of it. Now, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, running the jet sweep toward the place where you want to run, I don't like it. Some of the passes, okay, they were high percentage throws. I mean, Allen, the touchdown to Beasley, he knew exactly where he was going right off the snap, because he knew it was man, and he knew that Beasley within a 5-yard window can beat anybody. So, Young King, get rid of Yeldon and sign Jay Ajayi. Oh boy. Daniel Garvey's Bills not getting the push up the middle from the O-line, but the Bills kept going to the middle. Yeah. This offense is going to kill me by the end of the night. I just know it. It's going to happen. All right. We should get rid of Shaq Lawson and aim towards acquiring Khalil Mack. I mean, while I would like a guy like that, the reason why the Bills, and I saw it earlier in the chat. I'm sorry, I can't go back. I can't scroll up to go get it, but I saw Julio Jones and I saw Von Miller. Now, the reason why the Bills probably couldn't acquire those two players was, number one, the dead cap that would occur to the teams that they were being traded from in the Broncos and the Falcons, and also the amount of cap that it would take to bring them to the Bills. Now, initially, it would just be base salary for both of those guys, so they'd be free to cut. However, you think that a negotiation would take place where they would want to renegotiate their contracts and get a little bit more bonus. Even if they didn't, they're being paid such a high salary, both of them, that the contracts that they have currently would leak into Hyde, Poyer, Milano, Dawkins, Edmonds, and Allen. They would. So unless you want to draft and unless you want to actually be able to sign your draft picks and sign some of the players that have come through this organization that are stalwarts and cornerstones of this defense and the offense, then I think that's what happens when you pay guys like that. You end up with teams like the Falcons and the Broncos, who are not winning games now. I mean, the Broncos kind of did to themselves with the whole Joe Flacco scenario, but when you have teams like that, it's just not good. It's not going to help you. Having just one single player that's a playmaker sometimes hurts your team near the end of their deals. Then it does help you. So, Scott Blakely, the Patriots go to the Super Bowl, I'm going on vacation where there's no possible reception. That's hysterical. Shiva's Gold, do you like the jet run passes with McKenzie? I like it because it mixes things up. Now, last week, if someone says this to you at work tomorrow, I want you to respond in kind. And here's what I want you to say. Man, the Bills are so... Because you're going to hear this. You're probably going to hear this at work tomorrow. Man, the Bills are so stupid. Why didn't they run all those jets with McKenzie last week against the Eagles? Well, my response for you to bring into work tomorrow when you talk to people is to say this. Have you ever tried running a jet sweep on a wide 9? Once they stare at you blankly, you can draw up a nice little picture that has where a defensive end usually lines up and where they line up in a wide 9. And if you try to run a jet into a wide 9, you better have another guy that can run the jet, because he's going to die. when you run that jet. He's going to get killed. So, that is my take on that. You can't run a jet sweep into a wide 9. You're going to kill somebody. But today, they don't run a wide 9, so it was easy to run. That's what happens. Julio going nowhere. Tyrod was a no comeback scrambler. Couldn't win when it mattered. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't want to. The guy doesn't play here anymore. He's not part of the Bills organization. I don't really want to talk about him. I mean, we if we were doing like a retrospective episode, we can do that. But comparing him and Allen right now, I don't see the relevance of comparing him and Allen right now. If the Bills were losing, I know a lot of people would, because the last quarterback to take the Bills to the playoffs was Tyrod Taylor, and that's fact. So he's gonna forever probably be compared to Tyrod because he was the successor after the whole Nate Peterman project failed. So let me see what else. That play, Allen acted like he was going to run, but threw it, was something I want to see more. Yeah, I like this. I mean, those are some of the predetermined plays that help the kid and his confidence. I mean, if you have a play where, I mean, I had a coach one time that did that for me. We had a couple of these dart passes where I would just catch the ball and throw it out, and then I would throw a screen, or I would throw like a real quick in cut. And those are 3 completions that are very, very easy. The timing of it is nice, and it gets you in the rhythm of the game. You know, once you start completing passes, you start to get in the rhythm. You're like, yes, okay, this is starting to feel good. All right, I'm starting to get command here. If you start throwing incomplete passes, you feel like Shane Falco of the Replacements. I mean, you're in quicksand. You're like, is this going to be completed? I don't know. Let's try it, whatever. But that's how it goes for a quarterback. So I like some of them calls to get the kids confidence up. I mean, because playing that position, it is huge. Confidence is so huge playing that position. If you're not sure that what you're doing is going to work, then it's never going to work. It's just not. Yes, Derek Jeffers. I said Nate Peterman. Yes, I'm sorry. So actually, the last QB to take I knew it was coming. I didn't expect you to do it though, Daniel Galleries. Oh man. Actually, the last quarterback to take the Bills to the playoffs was Andy Dalton. You know, who had a Bills uniform on was Tyrod. But that's funny. That's pretty hysterical, though. What are the odds Dable will not be the Bills' OC next year? Okay, the Bills currently sitting at 6-2. Very winnable games in the near future. He will be tied to the failures and or successes that the Bills have over the next 8 games, good or bad. So if the Bills happen to win 12 games, he'll get some looks. But the guy that should get the looks, in my opinion, would be Frazier. I think Frazier should get some more looks at head coach if that happens. But I know how the dynamic in the NFL is going right now. A lot of these guys are going after offensive-minded coaches, even taking them out of college to get them. They want points. They want offense. That's what they want. That's what they crave. And that's going to be the dynamic. Will he get some offers? He'll get some offers if the Bills win 12 games. If they win 8, he probably still will. You know what I mean? He probably will. I don't know. Dable's 85-90% chance of returning next year. The only reason I would like Dable to return is for continuity with Allen. If he wants to learn the EP system and you give him 3 solid years in it, you're going to learn 2 things. Number 1, how much of an influence does Dable have on his learning curve? And 2, if he's the guy. We haven't talked much about that, but you'll find out if he's the guy or not. They did all these assets. Now, you have to realize, Allen's success and failure is tied to Bean and McDermott. So if Allen's not the guy, I know I'm going way ahead of myself here, and I'm probably making some enemies. Hit the subscribe button before you get mad at me. If Allen's not the guy, he's tied to 3 different jobs right now. So if he's not the guy, you're going to be looking for a new head coach and a new general manager. And if he's not, the new collective bargaining agreement comes out at the end of 2020. Do you really want a new GM, new head coach, and new quarterback when the new collective bargaining agreement comes out? We might be headed for another 20 years of drought. I'm just saying. You should expect Paul Berg, McDermott doesn't know how to hire offensive coaches. Usually what happens with some of these coaches, they'll fire the coordinator first. Now, we saw it with Dennison. That's what happens. After that, your buffer's gone. Your buffer is finished. Now, if he hires an offensive coordinator, the defense is really good, ranked high. He's a defensive-minded head coach. Okay. If he hires another coordinator and he doesn't make it or he leaves, now it's better for him to leave than to fire Dable. Just saying. From McDermott's standpoint, if he wants to be the coach of the Buffalo Bills long term, it's better for Dable to leave than for him to fire him. But Pagula will have a little bit more of a say the next time if Dable happens to leave, because I don't think he wants to have these games where you're up 17-9. You got a one-score game at Washington that is 1-7. I don't know if they're going to do that. If Daboll leaves, it's a setback for Josh's development. Yeah, I think it could be. That's one of the things I'm worried about. It probably would be a setback a little bit. The whole team is superstars. Aliens aren't QB. Enough said. How about deep in the playoffs? How deep in the playoffs is Buffalo going? That depends on health and our consistency on offense and defense. I think the way that the Bills are set up right now, the way that I talked my way through the first 4 games of the season when the Bills were 3-1, the first quarter of the season they were 3-1. I said that they were winning September game. They were playing December football in September, which some of those games are ugly. You got to win them ugly. You got to win them defensively. I know that happens a lot. That's how I talked my way through the first 4 games. The second 4 games, which they went 3-1 again, the defense started to go down a little bit, and the offense was like, okay, we're going to have to do some work here now. So still playing poor competition, going 3-1. You're 6-2 at the halfway point of the season. If you can, as that, I think it was Young King. Yeah, depends on the health and consistency. If you lose a guy to injury over the next 4 games, and it happens to be substantial. Now we've already seen it with Harrison Phillips. It's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be a lot of trouble for the Buffalo Bills to try to make a run in the playoffs. Now, I want to see more consistency out of the offense as far as driving the ball down the field. Now, does that mean you have to score every time you go on the field? No. But I'm tired of seeing an 11-play drive followed up by a 3-and-out. I don't understand how that happens. Either you're not adjusting, or the plays that you ran the previous drive, there were more defensive breakdowns than what you did. That's what bothers me about that. As far as the defense goes, I don't know. I think they're going to be sorry. I think they're going to be all right as far as the as far as the run defense is concerned, because I think they're gonna force some teams to throw on them a little bit more. Maybe they bring some more heat. Maybe they blitz. Maybe they try to switch up defensive alignments and whatnot. But I think they're going to end up righting the ship defensively, because that's what McDermott knows. That's where he's been. That's where he's lived. Frazier's the same way. So they may just implement some things in order to help that defense, and I think the defense will improve a little quicker than the offense, because that's what it is. I mean, you got 2 guys in the room, McDermott and Frazier, who know defense. On the other side of the ball, you got Dorsey and Dable, which a name we didn't mention quite a bit was Dorsey. How much is he working with Allen, and how much did he work with Allen this week? So not really sure in that respect how that goes, but we are on track. She was go. Yeah, we're on track for 12-4. Is losing both home games concerning in the future? I think it would. If you end up having home field advantage, I think it would bother you. But at this point, most teams that get home field advantage don't lose at home. The Bills more than likely going to be a wild card team. They're going to have to play somewhere else. Who knows? If they're a 5th seed, they're playing on the road every game, unless there's an upset. So. Jero Harris, where are you, Jero? Do you think the quarterback will get any better this year? I think he's going to improve. I think every little game he starts to pick up a little bit here and there, but there's so much stuff that throughout it's almost like the chicken and egg argument that we have every week with Dable versus Allen. Is it Dable's not calling the right plays, or is Allen not executing? I think he'll improve because anytime you do something that long and you're that involved in it, I think you're going to be successful. So I think he'll improve, but I don't expect that in week 11 and 12, Allen's going to throw for 75% completion percentage and then 280 yards. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a gradual thing where I'm going to manage this game. I may hit a shot deep if they give it to me. If they don't, I'm going to hit those intermediate routes until they do. I'm going to hand the ball off to Singletary and Gore for however many carries they had today. Sorry, I didn't write it down. But that being said, that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to happen with Allen. Young King coming in again. Let me find it. Where did it say? Do you think Vincent Taylor was a good fill-in? Yeah, he made a play today. He made a pretty good play. The thing about Taylor, which I found fascinating, is that he was a guy that blocked kicks. He blocked a lot of kicks so far. What that means is that you got a guy a defensive tackle that has great timing on the defensive front. It can time the snaps and stuff. So if you want a guy that shoots the gaps and or has to draw a double team, he's a monster. So he has great timing off the line. As far as his other attributes, there's a reason why he wasn't a very highly drafted guy. So it could have been a lot of guys missed him. Could have been he had problems off the field. I don't know that much about him, but I knew that he blocked a lot of kicks coming into this before coming to the Bills, and he was a guy that Dennis Hickey and Dennis Locke drafted down in Miami. So that might have been a Hickey Locke guy. So. All right, so what's wrong with Singletary? Anthony? No, nothing is. Dable calls again. I love Motor. We need one more powerhouse. What if he gets hurt? Gordon, and Motor. Oh my God. All right, so guys, I can hear the calls of my children downstairs. I just want to thank you if you're joining us tonight on both Sportscaster and YouTube. I want to thank you guys for joining us. If you're new to the channel and you like Buffalo Bills content, I'm usually riding co-pilot with my partner Paul. He is a little under the weather this week, and no Daniel Garis, he's not drunk. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be going live for a stream at 10 o'clock on Eastern on Wednesday. We're going to be exclusive to Sportscaster on Saturday. And the Friday Film Room, I'm going to do it live for you guys once again. So I have some homework to do this week as far as that goes. Yes, I got some homework to do because I'm going to give you both film of the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. So you guys can see prior to the game what if the Browns happen to come out in something that happens to be commonplace that they like to run against certain defenses, then if you watch the game yourself, you're gonna say, hey, I've seen that before. So I'll try to give you that breakdown to the best of my ability. But we're definitely gonna have a chat on Wednesday, talking about this game and maybe the injury report and where the Buffalo Bills will end up going from here. So like I said, thank you for joining me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we're out for the evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.